This is like all their hopes and dreams. Like if they don't make the team, like their life is over. There's a couple of these girls that are like had been on the team, but now they're like older. And
so they're like 27.
Yes, that's also the thing. Like they're not that old.
If you can't date Leonardo DiCaprio, you can't cheer for the Dallas Cowboys. Welcome back to Breaking Takes, everyone. What is going on? I am not back in Panama. You might be wondering why we're recording remote. My brother has COVID, and he's using the apartment to quarantine, which means I am at my parents' house for the next few days.
Nice.
And yeah, it's been fun. Something that popped into my head is that being at your parents' house is like traveling through a horny time machine, because I'm just looking at all the places that I've jerked off when I was 14 years old.
Oh my God.
I'm just like, yeah, I did it on that cushion. I did it on the pool table.
No. I hope they don't listen to
tried
this.
to vibrate the dishwasher. I tried the vibrate setting on the washing machine just to get the vibration and the jerkage going. Just to see. And it's just been like a romantic time traveling masturbatory journey through my house. And it's just I'm blown away by all the spots that I've masturbated in, and it's been a real fun thing to go through that.
Wow. Have you been like pointing them out to Julie?
I should. So you see what's special about this cushion over here.
You see that mark right there?
If you flip it over, you'll actually see September 7th, 2002 etched into it. That is the first time I jerked off in that cushion. Then every tally after that. I actually stuffed a plastic bag full of olive oil in between those cushions and tried to fuck it like a vagina.
You know, your house probably has, you're one of 3 brothers. So your house probably went through a lot of things.
Oh, yeah. If you took a black light to this house, it would look just like a Jackson Pollock murder scene. Like, not just the paint, but you'd be like, this can't be just paint. Like, there's blood, there's semen.
That's very scary.
There's, if you committed a crime in this house and you search for DNA, it would just come back to one of me or my 2 brothers. Like there would just be so much DNA around that it would just overtake. Like someone could just break into my house, murder someone, but then like my DNA would come up because there's just so much over the years.
Yeah. Meanwhile, that's what your brother's doing at the apartment right now.
Yeah, that would be.
He doesn't have COVID. He's just jerking off.
Yeah, he calls me on the phone. Hey, can you not come back to the apartment for a few days? It's probably for your own safety. I have COVID. Some guys in the background like, help me, and I'm like, what was that? Did you just someone just scream in the help? Oh fuck! I'm like, I think they might be doing something sexual. Like, are you tying someone up to murder them? Are you doing something for sexual purposes? So perhaps, but
everyone has COVID these days, though.
Yeah, and
it's going around.
Yeah, and COVID. He could have COVID, or he could also have COVID and be murdering people, because the two aren't mutually exclusive. He could just have COVID and be using the apartment to end people's lives. But
possibilities are endless.
You said you had a story to kick us off.
Well, it's more just a life update. I started, I'm approaching 30. You are 30. You're so old.
I am.
And I'm just like, I'm kind of out of shape. Like, I don't look like I'm out of shape, but I'm like skinny fat. You know what I mean? Like, I feel out of shape. So, and I'm worried, because not for me now, but for me, like when I'm 50 plus, because the number 1 killer of women is heart disease. And I really don't feel like I do that much that gets my heart pumping, because I walk a lot. I'll go up a lot of stairs just living in New York City, but none of it really like gets me worked up. So finally, last week, I started jogging. And so now I'm a runner. I'm not a track star.
Not yet. Not yet.
Not yet. And so, I think I've been doing pretty good. So I go to Morningside Park, which is the park closest to my apartment. It has like a unofficial track. Like it's not like a school track, but it's a park with kids and a pond, and like there's like asphalt around it, and it does like calculate. There are signs that shows you like how far you're running, but I wear my Apple Watch anyway, so I am like, I run 1.5 miles, and that's just what I started out with, because I before that I hadn't ran in probably like 4 years or more.
1.5 miles is a good range finder. Like, where am I at? How am I feeling?
Oh, I'm not feeling good.
What was do you remember the distance that kicked in where you thought in your mind, this is a mistake, I should stop?
Yeah. It was about 3/4 of a mile where I started like,
it's pretty good for not
where
running.
you start
in forever.
like battling, and it happens. It keeps happening. Like last week I just did it once. I'm just getting myself started. I walk every day. So even if I'm not running, I make sure I go out for at least a couple miles of a walk, do some stretching. This week I was like, okay, I'm going to do it more. So I think like a couple days ago I ran 1.5 miles. Today I ran 1.5 miles, and each time, like, it's not getting any easier. And every time around like 3/4 of a mile, 0.8, my brain literally starts like trying to convince me to stop. It keeps being like, well, what if you just like sit down at that bench for like just a minute, or like, what if you go over to the pond and like see if there are any turtles in there?
What if you just opened
for like just a moment?
What if you just opened your Uber Eats app and just stopped at the next pizzeria that you saw?
Seriously, it's not getting, I'm sure, I mean, I just started, so I know I need to like keep at it, but it's not getting any easier. And so I also have the Apple Watch, so it tracks like your time. And I have a tendency, like I used to be a sprinter, so I'm not used to long distance either. I tend to like bust out the gates like super fast, but then I'm like done really quick. So I'm trying to change the method and like jog kind of slow so I don't give up and like lose energy. So I finished 1.5 at 17 minutes.
1.5 at 17 minutes. So that's like 1 in 10 minutes, or I'm terrible. Like, well, 10, 11 minutes. Okay.
About.
All
so
right.
I went online because I was like, I want to see like, what is the starting point? Like what should I be doing, and where am I at with this beginning? And so I go like, oh, how fast should I be able to run like 1.5? And it takes me to this website. It's called runninglevel.com. And it's a pretty interesting website because you can put in like, you put in your gender, your age, your weight, and then whatever distance you ran and the time it took you to run it. So I put in 1.5, 17 minutes. It was 17 minutes flat. And it tells me, it'll tell you the age range that you're working in. Do you want to guess how old this thing assumes that? Basically is telling me that my endurance and my body is running like right now.
So I know, so let's say you're running about a 10, 11 minute mile. I know that I can walk.
I'm jogging.
Like, I know. I'm just doing a calculation in my mind. So I know I can walk about a 20-minute mile. So I would say running and jogging an 11-minute mile, I would put you in the 50 to 65 age range.
Okay, I'm not that bad. It might be that way for men because the gender separated.
Okay.
But it says that I am running like a 40-year-old fit woman.
Okay. I mean, 40-year-old fit women in New York City look like they're 29.
It didn't say fit. Actually,
you inserted
I put that in.
You're like 40-year-old fit woman? I think it's telling me fit.
Well, but I'm assuming if that's what
fit.
It's saying here, that, I should be able to run that at 40.
Yeah.
And I imagine if a 40-year-old is running, she's got to be fit, right?
Yeah. I mean, you're starting at 40. That's not terrible because
Yeah.
a year from now, you could be like 31. And then you are
Wow.
31 in reality.
That's true.
You're just
'Cause
catching
I am
up to your own
kind of thinking
age.
like I'm not that young anymore.
Yeah.
40 to me felt so appalling. When I saw, I was like, you have to be fucking kidding me. That's not right.
Yeah. So you start fast because you were a sprinter and then you burn out. So you're like the
Yes.
opposite of me because when I start to run a mile and I ran every time we had to do a fitness test for baseball and high school, college, for some reason, even though the longest you ever have to run in baseball is around the bases,
Which is why I was a sprinter because it was just from getting to like home to first base.
For some reason, the physical fitness test for baseball is running a mile, which never happens, not even close in the sport. But if you saw me start to run a mile, I look bad. I look like you would see me in the first quarter mile and you would be concerned because I'm going slow. Like I'm not anywhere near the front of the pack. I start to sweat early. I'm breathing like heavier than you should be breathing in the quarter mile. But then something about me just is good at staying at mediocrity.
You go survival mode.
So I'm good at being mediocre for long periods of time. And so I actually finish more towards the middle of the pack. Like you would see me within the first 2 minutes and be like, that dude's coming in dead last by a long shot. And somehow I end up being like 15 out of 35 on the team. Just not even because I'm in shape, just because like some mechanism in my body is just like, well, we can't go worse than this. So like you might as well just stay at this level. It's not costing you any energy just to stay like this.
I'm trying to get better. So like this, now that I'm doing it, I'm really careful about like, especially that first half mile, like just taking my time, chilling, like just I should be breathing calmly during the first half mile. I need to get to a point where I'm still breathing calmly.
Yeah.
At like a mile, but by the time I'm at 3/4 of a mile, I'm like, oh fuck, oh god,
Yeah.
it's going wrong.
Yeah, I mean, there's not a lot of worse feelings than being out of breath when running. Like I start to think about other things that I would rather be like. I feel so bad when I'm running sometimes that I start to like. You do this mental gymnastics about how you can get out of it. Like, oh, I might have a heart attack, even though I'm 30 years old. Like, oh, this is bad for my heart. I should stop right now.
My face and my head was getting so hot. And mind you, like, when I came back, I actually looked like I got strangled because my face was so red from running.
Yeah.
Like, it was a bit alarming. I was like, I think I might have pushed it a little too hard.
You are like me then, because that was something that was so fucking annoying from my childhood, is that my face gets red pretty quickly when I'm doing cardio. So people would always think I was in much worse shape than I was. I was also a fat kid, so that didn't help. But you see it.
Me too on the inside.
You see a chubby kid running with his tits flopping around and like his face is
and a red face. You're like, that kid's
You're like,
cooked.
that kid needs to go to the nurse. And I'd be like, no, I'm fine.
Camp.
Like, I'm honestly fine. I'm just out of breath a little bit. And they see my face and go, oh no, honey, we need to get you to the nurse. You need to stop. You need to take a break. And like, meanwhile, my other friends would be also dying on the pavement, but they're skinny with pale faces, like no redness. So the you know, the teachers are just like, they're fine. Like they're unconscious on the pavement, but you know, their face isn't red, so they're not gonna die.
Yeah. I don't want anyone to be concerned about me. I didn't realize how concerning I looked until I got home and went straight to the bathroom to take a shower. And I looked in the mirror. I was like, oh my God. Oh my God.
Yeah.
It's a wonder somebody didn't like call an ambulance for me.
Someone might have. Honestly, someone you passed might have called 911.
And another thing that you said, the whole like breathing thing, I'm so conscious of that too because I wear my AirPods when I'm jogging because I'm trying to listen to like pump up music. But I'm also really conscious of like somebody sitting on the bench
Yeah.
reading. And as I go by, they just hear.
Yeah. Sorry. I'm so sorry, sir.
And I think that I'm like doing okay. I'm like in through the nose, out through the mouth. Meanwhile, it sounds like I've been smoking all my life and I'm like wheezing going around.
Are you one of those joggers who keeps their jogging form with their knees going up and down at a red light when they're waiting to cross the street, or do you stop?
Yeah, I stop, but I don't jog in place, but I do. My knees like actually swell. I've been looking into this, like the fluid in your joints. I think I have overactive fluid in my knee joints. So I do have to kind of stand and like bend my knees, but I will stop and like try to open up my lungs, like maybe put my arms up on my head and like just like bend my knees. But no, I'm not gonna stand there and like tiptoe jog in one spot.
Yeah. That sounds like a very scientific way to describe how you're feeling turned on. Like, you're giving me overactive fluids right now.
That's true.
You're putting my fluids into
Overactive
hyperdrive
fluids
right now.
in all the wrong places.
Yeah, it's all in my knee. It's nowhere near my privates.
Yeah.
But I just want to let you know there are fluids moving around in my body.
Lots of fluids. So that's me. That's my agenda. My health agenda is to run more, and I'm doing it now because it's easier to run in hot weather, because the last time I tried it was winter and it felt like a fucking snowman punched me in the throat because the cold air that you breathe in as you're running made it so difficult to run. So I'm trying to get acclimated now so I can keep this up.
And for a snowman to punch you in the throat, that must hurt, because if
They have
if
sticks
they
for arms.
they have sticks for arms, and if you move the stick a little bit, it falls out. So it must have like javelined its arm at you, much like shot out the
That's
stick.
what it felt like.
And it was just a flying, just like a little wooden claw monster coming at your throat. And then you look up, you're like, and you look up, and there's just a snowman smiling at you.
and then they're like headbutting me with their carrot nose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those evil snowmen are getting out of control.
Cheers to me and my new health journey.
Yeah. I just want to say I give you credit for running in the city, because I realized, like, I was just driving through the city the other day, and I realized when I'm in city driving mode, how much I don't give a fuck about human life, especially people on bikes, because you get in this mode where people are honking at you immediately. Everyone's angry. No one wants to be driving in the city. Everyone would rather be anywhere, like literally anywhere else. I'd rather be sitting in a bed of nails with a snowman fingering me up the butt than be driving anywhere near Manhattan. And so I get into this mode where I'm just like, just get me fucking through the city. Like this, like
I almost run over a bicyclist every time I'm behind the wheel.
And then exactly. And then you get the light, and then it's your turn to make the turn. And then there's a bicycle. Every bicycle just acts like lights don't exist. And then you almost fucking take out the bike. So then the first time you're like, oh my God, I almost killed that biker, but it wasn't my fault because they were the ones running the light. And then like this,
we're numb to it now.
And then the seventh time I'm like, that's on you, bro. And they're lying. They're like decapitated. I'm like screaming out the window, that's on you.
Honestly, it is a lot of the time on them, because they literally don't follow the laws of traffic. But I also don't jog on the streets because for that reason. One, I have my headphones in, so I can't hear like if there is like a siren or I'm getting honked at. And people just like, I mean, there's just too much shit on the sidewalk, you know, like people are sitting there, there's trash, there's rats, like that's why I go to the park and actually use like the little track.
Yeah, that's good. Because I was going to say, I've like, even walking through the city, there have been a bunch of times where I've almost died.
You got to stay alert.
Not listening to music, just trying to cross the street, and then something like a biker will blow the lane or a taxi that does not stop on those left turns where, you know, where the man turns white and you can, you know, it's like your right to walk. And then a taxi is just like playing human bowling. They're just like, it's your job to move.
They love to do that.
Exactly.
That's what
Yeah.
New York City taxis
Yeah, so
do.
I couldn't imagine running through the city with headphones and trying to avoid that. So I'm glad you have a safe space to be 40 years old in running years.
Exactly.
And it's just a start. So who knows where you're going to go.
I know. I'm hoping maybe a year from now I'm 35 and that's my goal.
I think it's going to reverse. I think you're going to be 40 and your running age will be 30. And then you'll be like, I fucking time traveled.
Fuck yeah. If that's the case, I'll be thrilled. I really want to try and keep it a habit. So wish me luck.
Well, you know, now in many Western countries, including the United States, women are allowed to walk around in public with workout clothes. They don't have to cover themselves up. They're not subject to the Sharia laws of the Middle East.
They don't have to wear ankle length skirts.
They don't have to. They can if they want. You know, or, you know, up until Rumspringa, they can cut off those ankle skirts and go out and you know, have a good old time. But it turns out that speaking of Sharia law in the Middle East, the Taliban has banned the sound of women's voices singing or Taliban has banned the sound of women's voices singing or reading in public.
Wow.
So
I wonder who who was singing so bad that they were like, that's it.
Yeah.
That's the final straw. Ban it.
Yeah.
I don't ever want to hear another woman sing.
It has nothing to do with religion. They're just like, your voice is just so fucking awful. You ruined it for every other woman. I'm so sorry.
It's over.
But yeah, so if we were in Afghanistan right now, we were doing a live podcast, you wouldn't even be allowed to speak because it would be in public.
I'd just sit here.
You just have to sit there in full garb with your eyes slit, just nodding or just shaking your head, whatever.
That's terrible.
Thumbs up, thumbs down for laughing. But
it is insane. Like, you know, I don't know. I guess it's hard to like really create an opinion being an American, but
let's find out. So the Taliban banned the sound of women's voices. That just sounds so wild. It
sounds a little gay, if you ask me.
Gay as fuck. It sounds like the Taliban is passing laws according to a man's fantasy in the 1950s. Like some guy just drinking whiskey in the office. Like, damn, I wish I could fucking shut my wife's voice up forever.
Bitch, shut up.
Yeah, the Taliban's like, oh, we'll go back to Mad Men times. So the Afghanistan's Taliban rulers are cracking down on the sound of women's voices in public under a strict new set of vice and virtue laws under the Islamist regime. The laws were issued Wednesday after they were approved by Supreme Leader Hibatullah Akhundzada, a government spokesman said, and cover aspects of everyday life. So women are banned from doing any singing or reading or saying anything on public transportation, any form of music. It says shaving here. I don't know if women were singing while they were shaving in Afghanistan, but it says during shaving.
Bathing, while they're bathing in the river.
Yeah, showering. There you go. And celebrations. So, yeah, that's what's going on. And the crazy thing is the Taliban vowed to respect women when we pulled out of Afghanistan. That was the deal. Biden was like,
it's going great.
Yeah, exactly. You're telling me the Taliban broke a promise?
That's
oh my God.
Crazy.
That's insane. But yeah, so the Taliban is going back on their promise to quote unquote respect women by banning women from speaking or talking in any public spaces.
Yeah, that's crazy. I feel really bad for women over there. I don't know what to do. I feel like I just would love it if there was potential for like, we need a female conqueror to just like take over an island and like just only women can go to that island. Like no no men allowed.
Don't you think?
And so all these women can flee.
Don't you think someone in the Taliban would figure out how to nuke that island immediately? So the leader's just like, oh, good, they're
like
all in the same
a
spot.
global problem. Like, I feel like you can't just nuke anything. Like, if that was the case, the Earth would have already ended.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah.
We already tried to dabble in that once or
Yeah,
twice in our past.
Yeah, you know, the world's almost ended many times accidentally from just like incidental almost nuclear strikes. But yes, you could, I guess, sending them to an island and having all women on an
I
island.
want to go to the island. Like, it's not just these women. I just want them to come join us. I just would like a female only island.
Okay.
That maybe I'll be the conqueror if I can start to run 1.5 miles a little bit faster.
So you'd be like Moses to these women, and you'd part the Mediterranean Sea, and you'd lead them through the sea to some island. I guess we'd need to find the space for that island. I mean, Epstein's Island is open. I don't think anyone's bought Epstein's Island yet.
There are a lot of little islands. There are a lot of little islands that are available. There comes more problems, obviously, you know, like food and shelter and water. I'd have to figure all that out, but I just feel so bad for these women that are over there. Like, it's not really the outfits, because obviously, like, you know, the hijab and like other things, it's like, if that's part of your religion, that's totally cool and fine. But like these women that are like being controlled by the Taliban are just being like forced to wear whatever these men want them to wear, and now they're being forced to literally not speak.
It just feels like the Taliban want women to be sex robots. So if we struck a deal, if we got some billionaire donors to build some huge island for Islamic women and send these women there, and in exchange, so that the Islamic men didn't all freak out under the Taliban rule of like, where did our holes go? We build millions of sex robots, and we flood them into the Taliban, wherever their rule is, and then boom, the sex robot. We unplug the part of the sex robot that allows them to speak. So like only sex noises, no actual words. They can't sing. They don't have to shave, so that's fine. There's no shaving and saying anything. And if they want, just for good measure, they could even, you know, nail the mouth shut just in case AI makes them come to life. So I think we could find a solution for that.
It's definitely like totally shitty. Like what you said with them just probably becoming like sex robots, that's pretty much it, because it's like they obviously just don't like women, which just sounds super gay to me. Like,
yeah.
I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Like, you just don't like women.
Yeah.
I mean, there's not, you want to, I can assure you that there are other wet holes out there. Like, you actually don't need women. If you don't like to hear women or see women, just lube up your friend.
Yeah.
Like, you don't need women.
I mean,
you know,
when I was 14 years old, every other hole in my couch cushions was a wet hole. I just, you know, I made it work.
JD Vance.
Yeah.
He also likes couches, I hear.
What's going on with JD Vance and couches?
Oh, I
think I heard something about
his couch.
Wait, does he really bang his couch?
He has in the past. Let me
Is that because like
no, it's serious.
Okay.
Hold on. Because it's been like a couple weeks now since this like came out, so it's gonna take me a second to find like the source.
Because I do have a couch banging story, so am I about to JD Vance myself?
I mean, you wouldn't be the first. It's just weird to like admit that you banged your couch.
I mean, I will. I'll do anything for views.
Oh God.
I don't even think it's that big of a deal though. Like I talked about this with my other friends in middle school and high school, and like pretty much every single guy has tried to make some sort of device with lubricant to bang their couch.
That's crazy.
It's a widespread phenomenon.
And this is why I like women,
Yeah.
because I don't know women that have ever done anything like that.
So JD Vance, any
I
update on that?
my internet is like moving at a snail's pace, like me running at this point.
Your internet's 40 years old.
Yes.
Let me see if I can do
That's
it.
a weird tweet. It's coming up with all these weird tweets that he's tweeted, and I'm getting lost in them.
JD Vance. Let me just read this quote. What the JD Vance couch joke says about social media. False rumor began after an ex-user made up that Vance's 2016 memoir, Hillbilly Elegy, included a passage about having sex with an inside-out latex glove shoved between two couch cushions. There's no such mention in Vance's book. So that's where it's coming from. But I mean, I'll tell my couch banging story. It's more of a memory than a story.
Okay.
I used a plastic shopping bag. This must have been 12 or 13 years old. And I had heard of what a fleshlight was. And like this was a thing going around, like not the actual fleshlight, but the idea of a fleshlight amongst my friends and other guys in middle school. We were like, oh my God, like if we ever got $300, the thing we would do is buy a fleshlight because we're all horny pieces of shit. And so I looked up on the internet how to make your own fleshlight. And someone suggested to put a plastic shopping bag in between your couch cushions and then put some olive oil inside the bag.
Oh my God.
So,
and how old were you?
13, probably 12 or 13. And
Jesus.
so I made sweet love to this bag. And what I did not think about, and what this person did not mention in the post, is that when you stuff a plastic bag in between two couch cushions, the edges get really fucking sharp. So after about 30 seconds, I was like, the pain is by far outweighing the pleasure of doing this. So then I just get up, just like with fucking
balsamic
olive oil
vinaigrette.
balls, olive oil just dripping from my balls. I'm like cupping my balls, trying to walk to the kitchen as fast as I can, because like, you know, if you drip olive oil on the rug, that's never coming out. Like I'm gonna have to explain to my mom why there's an oil stain right next to the couch. And so
you were trying to make an Italian salad on the couch.
Yeah, why is there just like a line of oil drip just like running down the side of the couch? And then so I'm like cupping my balls, waddling to the kitchen, trying to like get a paper towel as fast as I can, and then I get to the bathroom, take a shower, and then that was the last time I tried to do that. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna stick to just, you know, the simple righty, and you know, maybe I'll go reverse, maybe I'll try the underneath, the mushroom cap, you know, I'll try all different sorts of things, but never again am I putting my dick near a shopping bag.
I will say I once knew a girl that, I mean, this is a rumor I heard. I knew a girl that like used like a hairbrush, like the handle of the hairbrush.
Okay.
And she probably went more advanced and used like an electric toothbrush. And that to me is like so disturbing. I don't know, like I feel like I've never been that down bad before.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean,
even as a teen.
The hairbrush seems more like I don't feel like you get pleasure out of the hairbrush because it's not even shaped like a dildo. But the electric toothbrush, I could see the vibration. I could see where that's going.
You gotta look up. There were some. Okay, let me see if I can look this up. Conair.
See, this is why the Taliban is banning women from speaking, because they don't have access to the internet to figure out, you know, how do I sexually gratify myself and involve women.
So growing up, I felt like there were specific, and maybe my girlies out there listening to this will know what I'm talking about. The brand Conair hairbrushes, they would have like a hairbrush that like the hand was kind of gel. It's because you'd be like brushing your hair so hard.
Yeah.
That like, you know, you would it would mold around your hand. And so it was like kind of soft, and it definitely was pretty dildo shaped.
I mean, Conair knew what they were doing. Someone at that company
Potentially
went on Reddit and some girl posted, by the way, Conair makes sweet fingering brushes. And then that CEO was like, you know what? Like, let's keep the gel handle. You know, we're not going to say it's for this.
Yeah.
It's kind of like Pedialyte knows that they have to know
that
that
only adults drink that.
Yeah, 80% of their purchases are for hungover adults, but they sell it as baby formula. Conair's selling it as a hair product when in reality, pretty much everyone's just using it to, you know, do some twattage damage.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I never got to that point when I was a teen. I just used my good old friend, my right hand, and my left hand.
I was gonna say, you gotta go left.
I never use
every once in a while.
Either hand. I'm ambidextrous when it comes to fapping. So yeah, I've never used anything that I shouldn't have been using.
Yeah.
So
well, I mean, maybe we could enlighten the Taliban on all of our just sexual, just masturbatory stories to give them just like an outlet to relieve what they're like. I feel like the Taliban's just like so pent up and they're so fucking gung-ho all the time with their beliefs that if they just, you know, they learned how to jerk off left-handed every once in a while, they maybe they fuck a couch.
Seriously.
You know, maybe they, you know, just switch it up and then you release some of that tension so you don't look at a woman and go, why is she talking? Why are words coming out of your mouth?
It's like, that's a little suspicious that you dislike women that much.
Yeah. Maybe the Taliban is gay. Maybe you're right.
I think
all of them are gay.
I think they're all in the closet though, so it's like not good. Gay is great when you are out and proud. When you're in the closet, it is not good. It festers and it can cause dangerous situations like this.
Yeah.
And I also feel like I read recently that the Taliban wanted to increase tourism. So I don't think this is the best move.
Yeah. Yeah. Come here for your couple's vacation. Where I mean, maybe that would increase tourism if guys were like,
speak.
yeah, guys are like, honey, we're going to Afghanistan for Christmas. You can't say shit.
I can't imagine I would ever have Afghanistan on my list to go to.
I just wanted to go back to your gay theory because I think it does make sense because if you look at the Taliban laws, it is against the law to be homosexual. You get lit on fire and thrown off buildings if you're even holding hands with another guy if you're a guy in public or a girl if you're a girl. But it's not against their law to do shitty things to women like stone them, sew their mouths shut. Women are pretty much like rag dolls in the Middle East. So instead of coming out and saying we're gay, we are all just closeted homosexuals in the Taliban, they can go, well, let's just not have women speak so that we can do all these things behind closed doors. And then if they see us doing something, because you know, like a woman gets suspicious if her husband is closeted gay, like she starts asking questions like, why are you, you know, always visiting Rashid every single night? You're never home anymore. Like the last time we had sex, it's been months. If a woman can't speak, she can't spread those rumors. So boom, problem solved. And the boys aren't going to go behind your back because like they're all fucking. They're all having a good time.
Exactly.
You want to keep the party going.
Yeah. No, it's weird vibes over there, guys. Don't go to Afghanistan.
Yeah.
Because especially if you're a woman.
Yeah.
Just take that off the bucket list.
I will say though, to be fair to the Taliban, there are certain people in society that should have a mute button. Like the Taliban chose all women, which is violently misogynist, but they're on the right track. Like if we could have the remote control from Click with Adam Sandler, where you could just point it at a person and go, you're done talking, and then you click and they mute, and that person thinks they're still talking, but you can't hear shit. Like that scene where Terry Crews is singing in the car and Adam Sandler is just like, yeah, you're done. And Terry Crews is just like, And Adam Sandler's just like, yeah, go fuck yourself. Suck my dick. If that remote control existed, everyone would buy that. So the Taliban is completely, they missed the mark with the execution, but the idea of muting people, I think we should still keep on the table.
If only.
Yeah.
If only in today's world, we're all getting less and less mute because we're all on TikTok and saying God knows what. I mean, I'm on TikTok now. I'm saying things for no reason.
Yeah.
Some people like
it's for
it.
a reason.
Some people wish they had a mute button.
It feeds your soul. When you release your thoughts onto TikTok,
That's how
you
I
are
feel.
feeding your own soul. It's not for them, it's for you.
No, that's exactly how I feel.
And you should.
This is a selfish activity.
Here's a little bit more about the Taliban laws. So women are also obliged to cover themselves in front of non-Muslim males and females to avoid being corrupted. A woman's voice is deemed intimate and so should not be heard singing, reacting, or reading aloud in public. I like how they threw in reading, like just in case you were thinking about doing some slam poetry.
Gosh.
Don't even think about reading. It is forbidden for women to look at men they are not related to by blood or marriage, and vice versa. So, yeah, I love how every Muslim law curtails only female behavior. Like they're only trying to control females. It's some girls in Afghanistan is like, I got raped walking home from work, and the Afghani police are like, well, you shouldn't have been singing that Beyonce song. You aroused your rapist too much. Now it's all your fault because you opened your mouth.
Crazy.
That's just the state of
Dark
the Taliban.
times.
Yeah.
Well, there's never been too great of times over there, so
I bet you there was one day where they were
Maybe.
all together and they're like, should we let women speak? And then they're like, probably not. There was one day where they all just took like mushrooms and got close. But then
I wish they need to do something. Take some mushrooms. They need to get some good vibes going.
I would love to. Maybe that's what we need to do instead of the nuclear. Or did you suggest the nuclear bomb, or you suggested the island?
I
said the
definitely
nuclear
did
bomb.
not suggest a nuclear
I suggested
bomb.
the nuclear bomb. You said island. I said maybe we should put all of the guys in the Taliban on an island and just dose them with ayahuasca and then see what happens. It could all turn terribly wrong. It could just
That would be great.
enrage the demons even more. Or they're just like, I am so sure of my beliefs. The ayahuasca tapped into me and made me realize that the Quran was correct and I should be keeping women from saying anything at all. So it could backfire.
I don't know. I have no answers. I'm just feeling lucky that I was not born over there
Yeah,
because it sounds fucking awful.
that's for sure. So maybe the mushrooms will fix it, maybe the island.
Yeah.
But what are you getting into this week?
Well, we're kind of on the same page with like women being treated like shit, except I have an American story. I watched on Netflix the Dallas Cowboys cheerleading documentary. It's called America's Sweethearts, Dallas Cowboys Cheerleaders. And it was like, it was awful. Like, because I'm just going to run you through kind of like a general synopsis. First of all, I thought that they like originated cheerleading, but they did not. The Baltimore Colts originated cheerleaders in 1954 before they fucked off to Indiana and left my hometown with nothing. But anyways, so in the 70s, like the Cowboys got pretty good. And so they got coined like America's team, which is definitely not true. But then so the cheerleaders were coined America's Sweethearts. So that's kind of where you get the name of the cheerleaders. So like basically what I learned from this documentary is like, it's just so bad. So this job is like a part-time job, right? Because the football season is only like 4 or 5 months long.
Yeah.
And Except like you have to stay fit and active like all year round.
Yeah.
But you don't get paid all year round.
No, yeah, just during the season.
Just during the season. And you also don't have any job security. So every football season, even girls that made the squad last year have to try out again. So it's like every year there's like a boot camp for these girls that want to be Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders.
So they're basically like the football players. They're only getting paid during the season. There's boot
Except
camp.
not, because some of the guys they sign like a 5-year deal with a team.
So there's no like even the best cheerleaders can't sign contracts.
No, there's no contracts. They
Okay.
have to try out every year,
So
which is like so fucked up.
So they're like a journeyman football player then. That like you could get cut at any time. You're going through boot camp and you're only getting paid during the season.
Yes. And so that alone just like sounds awful. And I also, apparently there's also only a 5-year max. Like after you've been a cheerleader for 5 years with them, they're like, old news, you suck, never want to see your face again. We need some fresh meat in here. So you also only have like potentially 5 seasons with the cheerleaders. But what I was watching this, like, these girls, like, they want to be a Dallas cheerleader like so bad, and I don't really like get it. I mean, there's something like psychologically wrong with these women. I mean, and I'm speaking as a woman who couldn't be further from that spectrum, right? Like I'm certainly not signing up to be a cheerleader, and I respect cheerleaders because they are fit and like very talented women. So it's like no disrespect to like just the sport of cheerleading and these women, but it's just crazy to me that this is like the way that they act. It's like this is like all their hopes and dreams. Like if they don't make the team, like their life is over.
Yeah.
And that's really what I was watching, and it was really sad because there's a couple of these girls that are like had been on the team, but now they're like older. Right. And
so they're like 27.
Yes, that's also the thing. Like they're not that old.
If you can't date Leonardo DiCaprio, you can't cheer for the Dallas Cowboys.
Yes.
25 and you're done.
Exactly. So Kelly Finglass is the director of the Dallas cheerleading squad, and she used to be a cheerleader for them in the 80s, but now like she's like fucking legitimately old. She's like 60. And she'll literally, the first 2 episodes are like the tryouts. So you watch them kind of, one, just do like dance routines. Like you see how they look like in the costume. Because it's all very, first of all, the dance routines, like, I hate to say it, but they weren't that great.
The cheerleader, the ones that this person was choreographing?
Just all of them. Like, just... I don't want to get myself in hot water with the cheerleaders.
No, I want the fucking
like,
Dallas cheerleaders smoke. Fucking
I
haven't watched
that,
it.
Like,
if you think it sucked, you thought it sucked.
There's Simone Biles, and then there's like these cheerleaders who are really just like whipping their hair around and like stomping and doing like a split here and there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like you don't need to train for years and years to perfect this routine.
But, I mean, that is probably not all true. I do think some of them, like, were dancers or whatever, strippers. No, I'm just kidding.
I will say, I mean, second career, probably.
They need other jobs,
yeah.
Actually. A lot of them have other jobs. Like, they're like, oh, I'm a dental hygienist by day. Yeah. Dallas cheerleader by Sunday.
Oh, my God. Could you imagine if you get one of the girls who's a dental hygienist, but she had to wear her uniform to work because she didn't have any time to dress.
It's just her like cleavage,
like she's just like, all right, we're gonna put
your forehead.
All right, we ran out of the gas. We're gonna put you under now. I gotta suffocate you with these titties. I'm just like, thank you, God.
That would be a blessing.
Yeah,
I would go there as well.
Yeah, I mean that's also an option. You know, if you're find yourself looking for an off-season job as a Dallas Cowboys cheerleader, you could also be a dental hygienist for the Taliban because you don't have to speak. You could just put on the clothes and then you just knock guys out with your titties and perform dental work.
These women on the team are all like deeply religious Christians. That is like another theme that I noticed. And I think that's because they have to like make peace with the fact that like their life kind of sucks.
Do you know how many girls that I've slept with on the second date that in their Hinge bio said deeply religious? Those are the freaks.
Yeah. Oh, no, trust me, I know. But so yeah, anyways, Kelly Finglass is like the director. And so I'm watching them. It's kind of like America's Got Talent. Like each girl comes up, Thunderstruck by AC/DC kicks on the tracks, and they have to do like a routine, and you're hearing like the commentary from the judges. And first of all, okay, there's Kelly Finglass, was a Dallas cheerleader like fucking 40 years ago. Mm-hmm. Then there's like a random choreographer guy maybe, and then there's like just some random dude. They're like judging these women. They're like, okay, movement good, but face is a little lopsided.
Yeah, your face is
like
a little fucked.
They're so mean. And you'll watch. I literally watched the director. She's like watching, and then like this meteorologist judge is like, her face is a little lopsided. And then all of a sudden, Kelly's like, yeah, you know what? I see that.
Yeah.
Cut next.
They're just holding up like that half circle thing in math. I forget what it's called, but it's like that half circle ruler.
A protractor?
Protractor, yeah. You're just like holding it up as the girl's doing a routine, and you're like, nah, that bitch is off by 30 degrees. Next.
It's crazy. And so there's this one girl who's a little bit older. She's been on the team a little bit for a year or 2, 3 years maybe. And so now it's like, you're probably not going to make the team. And she is so broken inside. Because the director keeps being like, you know, I can just tell that you just can't hit those moves at the same pace anymore. You're getting a little bit slower.
Yeah.
And then the girl is like on camera, and they're trained to be like beauty pageant queens. So they smile at everything when they talk. So they're like, yeah, I worked really hard.
Yeah, I'll try to fix my face.
I'll try to fix everything. You know, it's not what I wanted to hear.
I broke my nose when I was 11 and it didn't heal correctly.
Yeah.
I know. I'm dead.
It made me so sad. And then they're also like, they cannot afford to like live on their own. A lot of them are sleeping in like studio apartments with each other, like sharing a bed. And it's not lesbianism, it's poverty. Like
not yet.
I wish it was a happy story, Zach, but it's not.
It's only the first season.
Sad story.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds terrible. So this makes me think of just talking about the girls willing to do anything and they don't care how they're treated or their conditions. I think when you are if you're doing an athletic pursuit, and I think this happens a lot in sports especially, because I felt this when I was trying to become a pro baseball player. I don't care how people treat me or what I'm getting paid, because minor league baseball pay is notoriously some of the shittiest pay on the planet. You're getting paid in some cases like less than $1,000 a month, and you're only getting paid during the season. I just had this tunnel vision about me where I was like, if I get drafted, I'm giving up my entire life just for the chance, to make it to AA, possibly to where I might get called up for a game in the MLB and say that I made it. I'm willing to discard everything about my life. I'll let my coaches shit in my mouth. They can fuck up my face themselves. They can beat the shit out of my face after every single start I make if it gives me more of a chance to make it to major league. So I do identify with that attitude. It's not right. I think it's fucked up the way a lot of sports kind of like dangle that golden carrot in front of people, and they're like, do anything, like you'll do anything for this, come on, come get it.
Yeah.
But I identify with that spirit of like, I am going to sleep on a mattress in a studio apartment and it doesn't matter. I'll do whatever the fuck I have to do.
It just seems crazy, though, because they're not getting paid that much. And the Dallas Cowboys are like $1 billion industry.
Yeah.
and they get paid like maybe $500 a game. Like,
Yeah.
but you're only there for like 4 months.
I didn't.
And you don't even have a game every week sometimes.
Yeah.
You got a bye week.
Yeah. Yeah, $500. I was expecting it to be a little bit more. I would have guessed probably $2,000 a game.
No,
like
I don't
like
think so.
60. No, that wouldn't even be $60,000 a season. If 16 games, that would be what, like $50,000 or something like that. But I was expecting them to at least make like 60 to 75 grand for 6 months of work.
Yeah. I don't know if that's. Yeah, it doesn't seem like that.
No, 500 is like
I don't know math,
$8,000 for 6 months for half
a little
a year.
bit off.
Yeah.
Yeah. So also if they get on the team or the squad, they get fitted for their costume, and like they have to maintain that weight for the entirety of the season because the organization refuses to have any alterations done to the costumes once they're made.
Do they weigh them every practice?
So they've been like literally starving themselves. I saw one girl, she's like eating a bowl of watermelon for lunch. Like she very obviously has an eating disorder. And that's like okay. That's like normalized in this world. It's crazy.
She's like, I'm splurging today with some Splenda. Ooh, I'm being a bad girl.
It's crazy. And they
Splenda
have
on my
no
watermelon.
protection from creeps too. Another girl had a full mental breakdown because after like who knows how long, she discovered a air tag on her car. So she had been getting tracked. Like somebody knew where she lived and was like stalking
I've
her.
heard about this. There are guys that have been air tagging girls' cars and fucking tracking them.
And so she had like a full mental breakdown and like became like religious because like that was the only thing that would help her.
Oh my God.
You know, it's bad.
She got stalked so hard she turned to God. That's an intense existential experience.
Yes.
There's probably I can't imagine a more shameful situation than having to cheer in the middle of a mental breakdown. You're just like, give me an E.
And they have to smile. The smiles were creepy because like I could see the disconnect because they all have, you know, veneers or like fake white, like they've had their teeth whitened for sure. So they got this like big bright white smile, and then if you look at their eyes, it's like they haven't eaten in 3 days. They're getting stalked by some weirdo and they share a twin bed with the girl next to them.
Yeah, sounds like I feel like you can see the sadness in people's faces more when they smile, because I think that reveals it. Because if your eyes don't smile, if like your eyes aren't twinkling and you're just smiling and you're dead inside, you could see that more easily than if someone's just staring, or someone just has like a flat face, there's no facial expression, because then the eyes kind of look normal. But if the eyes don't lift at all when you smile, you're like, oh, you feel nothing. And I've been there. I've been there. Like when you're smiling and you're just like, and inside you're like, I'm gonna join the Taliban. I don't know what else to do.
So I felt really sad while watching it, but one thing I was surprised about was like I didn't notice any cattiness between the girls themselves. It was just like the director being mean to them and like the organization. The girls were kind of in it together, which I was like, you know what? That kind of gives you like, it's like, okay, society is not like on the same page with like the younger generation. Like we don't want to hate each other. We don't want to be mean girls. Like we want to be like just like happy and proud of each other and not starve ourselves.
Yeah. Do you feel like you have even 10% of you that wants to be Regina George? Like in some moments where you're just like, I could go full Regina right now.
I mean, I think I am sometimes. Like,
because I definitely have that sometimes where I'm like, I could just be a total bitch and be fine with it.
I do think, and this is not like something I'm proud of, but I feel I have been interpreted as a bully before. But really, I just don't take life seriously. Like, I'll laugh at you. I will laugh at you. If you trip and
I've
fall,
experienced
I'm
that.
gonna laugh at you.
Yeah, I mean, I'd rather someone like if someone gets a laugh out of something that other people perceive as sad or tragic, I
Yeah.
actually love that. And
That's just who I am.
I have a problem keeping a straight face when people are telling me about a tragedy that's happened in their life
Yeah.
because I'm trying so hard not to laugh. And I think it's probably a defense
Sometimes me
mechanism
too,
or
yeah.
something where I'm just like, there's so much sadness in what they're saying. My mind is just like, go to a happy place, and I just start thinking about the most fucked up shit and start
Yeah.
laughing at them.
Yeah.
But so I get that for sure. But you're saying these girls are in it with camaraderie. Like there's no
Yeah.
connive. Like there's no.
They didn't seem that way. I don't. Granted, you know how producers work. They could have chosen to not show any of that. I didn't see any of it though.
Yeah.
It didn't seem like that. They all seemed like pretty close and like proud of each other. And you know, I just can't believe that people want to do that stuff.
Yeah. I mean, if I was on that show, I think it would be fun to pull a Lindsay Lohan, and then you find the girl eating watermelon, and you go, "Oh, hey, girl, I found these like watermelon bars that are actually a lot healthier than eating just the watermelon.
Yeah.
You should totally try these out."
I don't know if she'd fall.
And then
for
2
it.
weeks later, her dress is just ripping at the seams.
No
It's just like,
alterations.
what's going on? And I'm like, sorry, bitch. You know,
No alterations.
No alterations. You're cut just like the seams
Yeah.
on your dress because you're a
Yeah.
fat pig. See you later.
Well, they're all beautiful. None of them were like even close to any. They all were just beautiful women. Like, that's the thing. Even the ones that didn't make the cut because they were too old or like not in shape, they all looked fantastic. And I think like to the drunk uncle that's in the crowd having his 10th Bud Light cheering on the Cowboys, I really don't think. I honestly think they need to diversify the squad.
Yeah.
Because it's just like, first of all, half the girls that they picked, they were all white. And there were other girls that tried out. Conveniently, they only like the white girls ended up making the team.
Yeah.
And they go and they will dye their hair. They'll be like, you don't look good as a blonde, so I'm going to dye your hair brown. And you have to just be okay with that. Because if you say no, you'll get kicked off the team.
Yeah.
It's just so messed up. But I don't think anyone actually gives that much of a shit.
Do they
besides Jerry Jones himself.
do they show any of the dynamics with the football players? Because I know that's always a big talking point. Is like which cheerleader's
Yeah.
banging a football player? What's going on
No.
there? Like any of those dynamics? Because I feel like that would be interesting.
No, it seemed like this really wanted to focus on the process of like making the cheerleading squad. But yes, I do understand that part of the interest in being a Dallas Cowboy cheerleader is access to the players, to endorsement deals, or, you know, all of that. So I do get that, but I don't, you know, out of like, I don't know how big the squad actually is. Out of like 20 girls, you know, I think like one or two of them, are like married to a player or are living the good life.
Yeah.
For the most part, you're probably not.
I have some advice for the cheerleaders. So I just thought of this. Go through the tryout at your weight that they want you to be. And then once you make the team, I'm guessing the sizings and it's sort of like the weigh-ins where you get fitted for the rest of the season, you might have a day or two in between making the team and when you get sized up. So those 2 days, put on as much weight as possible, almost like a reverse weight cut for UFC. Like you're not cutting down, you're bulking the fuck up. And so that way, when you get sized for your dress, for your whatever you call like a cheerleader's outfit,
It's like a skirt and like literally a bra.
yeah, when you get sized for your skirt and you get sized for your bra, your skirt's gonna have a little extra give because you were chugging ice cream for 24 hours before
Yeah.
the weigh-in, before you got fitted. So fatten up, ladies, make the team, and then fatten up
I think
before
it
you get
happens
fitted.
really fast, though, Zach.
I don't bring the
think
ice cream.
there's days.
Bring the bars in your locker. Chug down those protein bars.
I don't think it's that
like
easy.
Cox and
I don't think
fill
I could
yourself
gain weight that fast. Like it's
up. Oh,
so
you can,
hard
trust
to do.
me. For me,
I've
it
been trying
happens
to
really
gain
easily.
weight like my whole life, and it's not easy for me.
I'll give you some advice that I heard from Hollywood celebrities that try to gain weight for roles that can't. Leave a gallon of ice cream out on your counter at the beginning of the
Ew.
day so that it turns to liquid by the time that you get home, and then you drink the ice cream
Ugh.
like a shake. But that's like
No.
4,000 calories right there. A gallon of ice, probably more.
I
and
feel
then
like for
boom.
me, I'll just have diarrhea and like shit all of that out.
Not all of it. A lot of it,
Most
yes.
of it.
A lot of it, yes. But some of it will be absorbed into your fat cells, which will make you put on weight. So, ladies, if you're listening to this in Dallas, let that ice cream thaw. Put that ice cream down your throat. I know you've done it before with other things. You know, it is what it is. You got to do what you got to do to survive. And then you put on that weight. And you just fucking you make it happen. And you know, I would do the same thing. I would do the same thing. You got to do what you got to do.
The director will know.
Yeah.
She's the eyes and ears of that institution. She can smell the ice cream from 3 miles away.
Yeah. And you might be thinking, look, that's, sexist of you to insinuate that these cheerleaders are sucking dick for a job. I just admitted to fucking a couch, so I'm no better. I'll do what needs to be done to get to the places you need to be. I'm on this journey. We're all figuring it out together. That's my advice. Just fatten yourself up like a little pig for just 2 days and just eat everything in sight, and then boom, you'll have a little extra room when that dress gets fitted.
Yeah, I'm worried about them. Like I'm worried about the one specifically so I think it ends up that like the one that is getting older, like I don't think she makes the team. I wonder where she is today,
Yeah.
Like, is she alive? Like, I'm actually
not in a
like,
good place. I'll tell you that.
It made me genuinely concerned that like the way they were speaking, like it did feel like, okay, she should maybe be on a suicide watch.
She's in a diner somewhere in rural Texas, serving lamb souvlaki, telling customers, I almost cheered for the Dallas Cowboys once. It's good times.
Well, she did for 2 years.
Yeah.
But that was it. Then she got old and fat.
Yeah. Now I'm here in this diner. Yeah, good times. You got another Marlboro Red?
It's also hard to think that like that's your peak, right? Like your peak is you at 25 being a Dallas Cowboys cheerleader. And that is like only at this point the first quarter of your life, because we're all living until we're like 90 now.
I mean, that's all athletic pursuits, sports. If you all throw it in one bucket, that's basically the life of an athlete in general, is that if you make it to the big time, like if you're lucky, you're still playing in your 30s. Yeah, depending on the sport.
Not all of us can be LeBron.
Yeah.
Right?
He'll play till he's 96.
I don't even know how I was watching the Olympics, and he was on the team, which was really fun to watch. I wish I would watch more basketball if it was the USA Olympics basketball team, because it's just like all of the best on one team.
Yeah.
But he looked so old. Like he looked ancient.
Did he really? Like the way he was moving?
Yeah, but he still balls. No. He still balls out. Just like his beard is literally gray.
Okay, so
and
he's
he
rocking
looks
the gray beard.
old. Yeah.
Gotcha.
But no, he was still doing his thing. I mean, it's LeBron, but it's just like crazy to me that he's still able to do that and looks like a 50-year-old.
I hope he grows out a full Wizards beard for next season.
Yeah.
And he's just embracing his inner old man. Because that's
what we
through the
need,
beard.
Zach. We need more diversity.
We do.
I want a grandma cheerleader. I want a fat cheerleader. I want cheerleaders of all races.
Yeah.
That's what I want.
I mean, if you had grandma cheerleaders, you could do so many things with floppy titties that are going down to your knees. Like you could have so many
are cool
cheers.
tricks.
You could have so many trick with just like Give me a J, and then you like throw the titty up and draw a J, and it's going over your head
do
and then
so much.
down to your knees. You're just crisscrossing. You're slapping players in the face with your titties to get them ready.
Seriously though,
Yeah.
if you saw a grandma bust it down with her pom poms,
Yeah.
like I would pay to go to the game.
Yeah, that's what I think people don't always realize that are running teams or just like running these institutions is that skill does not always equate to entertainment value. If I see someone on the field that I'm like, oh, that person's a character, or I want to watch them, I'll tune in. I'm gonna watch videos on. I'm gonna watch the whole football game, but I'll look at a YouTube video titled "Grandma Floppy Titty Cheerleader for the Dallas Cow." I'll watch that shit, and she's not that good technically, probably because she's about to die, but she'll be entertaining as fuck. And so I'm not saying get rid of all the skill, but maybe do
Just
like a half and half.
Some more. Yeah. Come on.
Exactly. I do have a quick Reddit question because I know you have to go in a few minutes, but I mean, speaking of diversity and changing things up, this is a question from Reddit. It's technically for men, but it applies to us both. The question is, and it applies to us both because we both have girlfriends, because Sam is a lesbian, and
in case you've been listening all this time and somehow missed that part.
Yeah, that's and I, also have a girlfriend. We both like pussy is what I'm saying. And we bond over that. So the question is, if you could bear children so your girlfriend or wife doesn't have to, would you? Mm-hmm. So in your case, if Demi was carrying a child, would you be willing to switch places with her and bear that? And in my case, if my girlfriend was carrying a child, would I be willing to switch with her? I've thought about my answer, actually.
Yeah. Well, I've thought about my answer much longer than you have, because
you give me yours first, because yours is probably yours is probably more well thought out. Yeah, exactly. I'm like, I just thought about it like today. The prospect
I've actually thought about this for the last 10 plus years.
Yeah, I read a Reddit post that's 30 years old, and I thought, what if I was pregnant? I just realized people get pregnant. That's crazy.
Yeah.
What if it happened to me? But you go first, since you've been thinking about this.
As a woman that can actually get pregnant, I've, of course, thought about that possibility way long ago. And the answer is absolutely not.
Okay.
Absolutely not. I do not want a baby inside of me at all. The thought disturbs me. I'm open to the idea of getting like my eggs vacuumed out of my body and like frozen and then used for like IVF or something. But hell no, I'm sorry. It's just not happening.
Yeah.
It's not happening for me.
I think I would do it, but only just to...
I feel like you would look cute pregnant.
I would. And my reason, I would do it, my main reason, I would switch places with my girlfriend and carry a baby, but only just to piss my girlfriend off. Like, not coming from a normal, not coming from like a loving
just to
place.
Be like, stop whining.
Yeah, exactly. Like, this isn't like a loving, like, I'm going to carry your child to take your burden. I'm going to take this on for us. Like, I'm doing this so that I can crush the pregnancy, get through it, no problem. Just have a breeze, and then at the end, I bet
you would have so many problems.
I might, but I would gut it. I would keep it down. I'd be like, I'm not gonna ask her to get me a thing. I'm not gonna complain. I'm not gonna say a word. Just so at the end of the pregnancy, I could be like, I don't know what all these women are complaining about. This shit's easy as fuck. Like, I don't.
Yeah.
I'm just like snowboarding at 8 months pregnant, fucking doing backflips. I'm not gonna stop drinking.
Hey, you can. Oh my god.
We'll have a retarded baby. It's fine. Well, it's 2024. There's medication for that.
Definitely not. And I don't think that you would be able to do it. What you need to do, what we need to get is one of those period cramp simulators. Have you seen those videos?
I have. We could do it on the podcast.
I want to get one so we can, and I want Julie to be there because she would love to see you experience some period cramps.
She'd press the button. You'd have to hold her back.
I know.
She'd turn it up to 14 out of 10
Yeah.
and then hold it
I
down.
know.
And just watch me writhe like a snake on the ground. But I'm telling you, if I had the opportunity to do it, I hope that nothing would go wrong. I wouldn't complain. I wouldn't have any morning sick. Like, even if I did, I'd be so motivated to be like, just fucking make it through. Don't say shit, so that you can turn around and look in your girlfriend's face and go, that shit was the easiest shit I've ever done. And I like drop the baby. I drop the baby
birth.
like I drop the mic. I'm just like, did it, bitch. And I just fucking hand her the baby. Take that fucking baby. Drop the mic.
You told me that you have like a hard time getting an MRI.
That's true. That is
so
true.
So you are not handling pregnancy well.
But that's different. That's claustrophobia. That's
but you have to go to the doctor so much. Do you know how many?
I won't go to the doctor. I'll wing it.
Oh my God.
It comes out how it comes out.
So many, like so much blood drawn, injections. Oh, it's awful. It's so awful.
When I bake chicken, I'm not constantly looking into the oven, seeing how it is. I set the timer, and then when it goes off. You want to do
a full home birth, home pregnancy, everything at home.
I'm going to give birth in the hospital, but I'm going to drive up and say, hey, my water broke. Do you guys have a room?
I just discovered I'm pregnant.
Yeah. You could book a hospital room ahead of like on Airbnb or something. Just like show up and you just say, I've been pregnant. I haven't been to the doctor. It's time to go. Fucking wheel me up.
Hopefully it's all okay in there.
Wheel me up.
It's showtime, baby.
Wheel me up. Let's get this shit done. I got a pickleball game in an hour. Let's fucking go. I'm ready to blow.
I'd love to see it. I would be there, ready to catch your baby.
I know you would. And that's why we have such a good dynamic, because you're always there for me.
That's right.
And I know you have my back and my baby.
That's right.
Yeah.
I'm gonna catch it.
And if you were there,
like a Dallas Cowboy football player.
and if you were there when I was 13 years old trying to fuck a couch, not only would you have my back or my baby, but I know you would put your hands underneath my balls to stop the olive oil from dripping on the rug, so I wouldn't have to explain to my parents that I was banging a Raymore and Flanagan purchase. But their $4,000 couch or whatever it was.
Yeah.
But yes, this has been an absolute journey.
It has been
through the Taliban,
per usual,
through the possible nuclear war, private islands, male pregnancy. Just it's been a wild ride, and we thank you guys for coming on this ride with us. And if you would like bonus episodes, so you could, feel that exhilaration anytime you want, head to breakingtakes.supercast.com, and there's bonus episodes there. I think we're due for our 10th one, so there's a lot there up now, and it grows every month. You can submit questions for us to answer AMAs. We put out mini-sodes. You can suggest topics and questions for the podcast, so you can actually become part of the show. Head to breakingtakes.supercast.com. But most important of all, rate us on Spotify, rate us on Apple Podcasts, subscribe on YouTube, because that tells the Overlord algorithm to share us with more people, get some more eyes, help grow the show, and that honestly is the biggest help.
Yeah, it is. Comment, subscribe. Make your parents listen. I don't know.
Yeah.
Just spread the word.
Yeah. Well, instead, if you're feeling the urge to grab a plastic bag and some Borelli's oil, maybe just turn on the podcast for 30 seconds and let that urge go away. Because like I said, it hurts more than it helps with the plastic bag. So you don't want that.
Yeah.
So thanks.
It's good to know.
Thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll talk to you next time.
See ya.
Peace.